What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, Crypto Warriors, Assault on Crypto, back at it again. Today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019. Wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority is sharing it. Leo Tolstoy. Let's get into it. This is coming out of Yahoo Finance. Warren Buffett. Banks will be worth more money in 10 years. All right. Here it is. Buffett basically invested for the first time in JPMorgan Chase. And if I'm speaking fast, it's because this is the third or fourth time I tried to record this video. Kept getting interrupted. So they're a business I understand, and I like the price at which they're selling relative to their future prospects, Buffett said in an interview to editor-in-chief of Yahoo. I think 10 years from now that they'll be worth more money, and I feel there's a very high probability I'm right. And it goes into saying that he invested in JPMorgan Chase in third quarter of 2018 and again in the fourth quarter of 2018 to 50.1 million shares in JPMorgan Chase. And it goes down here and it states that these are the other banks that Buffett has been invested in Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Bank of New York Mellon, PNC Financial, and Wells Fargo. Now, in the past, I've made videos stating or showing that banks have been fraudulent in doing business. They've made billions, all right, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, meanwhile defrauding their customers. And all they've gotten was a slap on the wrist and paid maybe hundreds of millions in fines. All right, so paying those fines is just the cost of doing business when it comes to banks. Now, what does it have to do with crypto? Besides the fact that these two hate Bitcoin, and I've again made videos showing that while this guy here, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase, JPMorgan Chase, have been slandering Bitcoin, his European branches at the same time was buying it up. All right, he dropped the price by slandering Bitcoin to buy up Bitcoin. All right, banks 10 years from now. I don't think we'll have banks as we know them today 10 years from now. All right, and again, this is just my opinion because no one really goes to a bank anymore unless you're a certain age, and I'm not trying to be an ageist here, okay, or discriminate against people that that are older. But for the most part, if you're 45 and younger, you really don't go into a bank per se. And you're not writing checks, you're using apps, all right, or you're using cryptocurrencies to make payments and pay for services, all right. So that's all I have to say about that. And yeah, I don't think banks will exist as they do right now. And a lot of banks, because it costs money to have a branch, stay open, and people aren't going into banks like they used to at one point. So what is that? All right, and so that will lead me into my next story, and here it is. This one is coming out of Ethereum World News, and this is an old one. I actually made a video about this, about Russia getting into the cryptocurrency game, right? Russia getting into the cryptocurrency game. Russia to buy billions of dollars worth in Bitcoin next month, Russian Economist says. So again, I've made this video already, and this is a tweet where the Russian Economist was replying to someone about the world money as it's concerned. So you see here, according to this tweet, all right, 5 take global assets values. So here it is. Gold at 7.7 trillion, stocks at 73 trillion, broad money, which means just money floating around the world, at 90 trillion, debt at 215 trillion dollars, real estate at 217 trillion, and the derivatives on the low end is 544 trillion dollars, placing the world over 1 quadrillion in value. I don't even know what does that even mean. Right? These are just like numbers and letters, to me. So I can't even fathom that. So yeah, here we go. Where monies most broadly defined represent less than 10% of that. And it goes on to say, this is the Russian economist here, Vladislav Ginko. Chris, I believe, sitting here in Moscow, Russia, that the real factor of Bitcoin adoption will be when Russian government I'm working for will start investing almost $470 billion in reserves into Bitcoins. I expect that it'll be at least 10 billion in the first quarter of this year. So, like I said, I've made this video, and across the internet, people are saying that, oh, he's lying, he's just trying to pump up Bitcoin and blah 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 blah. So here we go. Today, this is coming out of the Bitcoinist.com. Russians bought $8.6 billion in Bitcoin, says Kremlin economist. So OFAC sanctions will push Russia to Bitcoin. And this is a quote coming from him. 1.8 million Bitcoins were bought by Russian companies and wealthy Russians. There is no direct involvement of Russian state, but some who buy Bitcoin are awaiting that the increasing U.S. sanctions will make impossible to do international transactions as usual, so they purchase Bitcoin as a way to circumvent U.S. sanctions. So the Russian government has been buying up gold by the ton since 2005, 2006. China has been doing it since 2009, 2010, buying up gold. Why is it so hard to believe that the Russian government and wealthy Russians and wealthy Chinese, all right, won't be doing the same when it's considering Bitcoin, considering that Bitcoin is a digital form of gold? Here he is, he's saying again, there is no direct influence of Russia's purchase to the Bitcoin price, but in the midterm, it starts playing role in driving Bitcoin higher. Russia's companies and people, especially those who are under risk being put on OFAC lists, have to purchase Bitcoins indirectly, buying up digital wallets when they may formally still belong to some U.S. citizens. So there you have it. Because they're going to be put on this OFAC list, all right? The U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Asset Control. So being put on that list, having your names put on that list, their companies, their holdings, SWIFT stopping their payments and the transfer of money between them and other countries because they're on this list. Of course, they will look for other forms and other means to transfer and do business. And Bitcoin is the way to do it. All right. Others say Russian government buying Bitcoin makes no sense. And why doesn't it make sense? I mean, they've been buying gold for over 10 years. Buying gold every single year for over 10 years. De-dollarizing themselves. Returning U.S. assets to the U.S. government. This is why there are sanctions being placed on them. It has nothing to do with them intervening in the Ukraine. Maybe it has some to do with that. But mostly it's because they're doing business, buying oil, trading in oil in other forms of currencies besides the US dollar. That's the main reason. This is why Gaddafi got killed. All right. He wanted to form a united Africa, so to speak, where the African nations would have, besides trading in oil and commodities in US dollars, trading it in other currencies and currencies being backed by those commodities, right? Having their own currency being backed by gold and other natural resources, which we all know Africa has an abundant amount of natural resources. The same thing happened again to Saddam Hussein. He started trading oil in euros instead of the US dollars. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right. But we have a prominent Russian economist here stating that Russia is buying up Bitcoin. All right. Russia is not just investing in it, but buying up Bitcoin by the boatloads here. All right. Ginkgo is no stranger to making bold claims about Russian involvement in Bitcoin. Earlier this year, just like I said in this article, all right, he said that they'll be investing in Bitcoin. But some people are saying that he's crazy and that he's just making stuff up. But he's officially a part of the Russian government. People don't just come out and state things in Russia on their own. So that he got the tap on the shoulder. And he's like, all right, they probably from Putin himself. Hey, start making these claims. So they're playing some kind of a game here. But we have wealthy Russians buying up Bitcoin. We know that people have been buying up Bitcoin over the counter, for the past year, and there's evidence of this when you see the movement of Bitcoin of 30,000 Bitcoin at a time, 20,000 Bitcoin at a time. We even saw the rise to 5K recently because people or an algorithm was trading Bitcoin on 3 different exchanges of 20,000 Bitcoins, bringing the price up. So why would it be so hard to believe, right, that the Russian government isn't buying Bitcoin by the tons? But of course, they're not going to come out and say it. They'll probably just have him say it, or he's just being a wild freaking card and saying it on his own. I don't know. All right, so Bitcoin price $2 million by the end of 2019. I don't know about all that, bro, but that would be crazy. So if you don't have your Bitcoin already, a whole Bitcoin, you're slacking on your macking. But here it is. He's stating, when I've predicted let me start again. When I predicted that Russia's rush to avoid sanctions will bring about $2 million per Bitcoin at the end of the current year, many were stalled. But Moscow has already bought 1.8 million Bitcoin to secure oil and gas deals when the US dollars will be banned by OFAC for Russian companies. So there you have it. There you have it. They're going to be but governments are trying to avoid US sanctions. All right. Nobody wants the US debt anymore, which is the US dollar. All right. And in a video I made a couple of days ago where I showed you that the former Fed chair said that we could pay off any debt we want by just printing more money. Nobody wants US dollars anymore. People want real assets. People want sound money. And I'm making a fist here, people. People want sound money, man. They want gold. They want Bitcoin. They want sound money. Because they know that you can't print anymore just for printing's sake. You can't just go off and just go print more Bitcoin, or you can't just go off and go freaking print more gold. All right? It just doesn't exist. So you let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that we'll have a $2 million Bitcoin price by the end of 2019? I don't think so. Will it get to $2 million one day? Yeah, probably. But not because of, not by the end of 2019. I don't think so. That's just a little out there. But to circumvent US sanctions, yes, countries will start to use Bitcoin. So if you're not buying up Bitcoin, again, this is not financial advice, but I have, being a personal trainer, I have told some of my clients that to have 100 basis point in Bitcoin is not a bad thing, which is basically 1% of their net worth. To have it in Bitcoin is not a bad thing. All right, have 1% of your net worth in Bitcoin is not a bad thing, and that's what Mike Novogratz is saying. That's what Anthony Pompliano is saying, and these guys are financial advisors. But what the hell do I know, right? As always, smash up the likes, hit that subscribe button, and thanks for all the support. Share, like, tweet, all that good stuff. It's your boy, Sergeant Crypto, and I'm out. Peace.